Hello everybody, here's what's coming up tonight on Now. Witnesses say he put himself in front of a car to help protect the lives of some Sanford baseball players.
It felt like a slap in the face, hearing him called a hero.
But decades ago, he was behind the wheel of a deadly hit and run that killed a 4-year-old girl.
The U.S. Supreme Court sided with a Colorado baker who refused to make a wedding cake for a same-sex couple. But Maine LGBTQ leaders say this decision may actually be a win for them.
It's telling me for 46 years I might have been in the wrong organization, because this is just terrible what they've done.
With no warning, a local Elks Club is shut down, leaving brides without a venue and members without a club.
This is News Center Now.
A car tears around the bases of a youth baseball field, and witnesses say a man pushed kids out of the way before he was run over. But 3 days after the incident, that hero's past uncovers a strange twist. Hello everybody, I'm Lee Goldberg.
And I'm Lindsay Mills. The stands were full Friday night when police say Carol Sharrow drove onto the Sanford baseball field. One witness told News Center Maine that Douglas Parkhurst of West Newfield saved kids on the field before he was hit and killed by the car. But Christina, Parkhurst was once behind the wheel in a deadly hit-and-run crash.
Yeah, Lee and Lindsay, he was, and he confessed in 2013, 45 years after hitting and killing 4-year-old Carolee Ashby in New York. I spoke with her sister over the phone today. She says she knows it's wrong, but she's relieved her sister's killer faced a similar fate.
You don't get over it. It's one of those things that always haunt you.
Darlene Ashby McCann was celebrating her 15th birthday on October 31st, 1968 in Fulton, New York. She was holding her sister Carolee's hand when the 4-year-old was hit and killed by a passing car, thrown more than 100 feet.
My mom had a horrible life of grief and pain because of all of this.
The driver was never caught until 2013, when police approached Doug Parkhurst and he confessed to the crime. But it was past the statute of limitations, too late to press charges. So Carolee Ashby's mother asked for one thing, an apology.
She didn't have to feel her daughter was just left in the street like she was garbage.
Carolee's mother died before getting that apology, and 5 years later, Parkhurst died an eerily similar death to Carolee, hit and killed by a car at a baseball game in Sanford. The suspect, Carol Sharrow.
The girl's name was Carol. My sister was Carolee. He died at age 68. He killed my sister in 68. It's all like bizarre. It's like it was in God's time.
Darlene says she knows it's wrong, but she takes comfort in knowing her sister's killer died a similar fate.
And I'm sad to say that I feel relief because the person died, and I will talk to my pastor about it, but I do feel that way.
So this story is causing many mixed reactions on social media. Valerie says the similarities are spooky and it's hard to imagine the weight he carried all those years and also the family carried. She says karma found Doug Parkhurst in the end. Katie says she thinks Parkhurst saw a chance at redemption, and he took that chance by saving those kids from being hit at the Sanford baseball field before he was hit. Now, Brett says he's bothered by the Ashby family's response, and he says vengeance is an ugly thing. Certainly a freaky twist of fate, though. Lee and Lindsay?
All right, Christina, thanks so much. Well, today, Carol Sharrow, the woman accused of driving onto that Sanford baseball field and killing Newfield, went before a judge. She is charged with manslaughter. Police say she has a history of driving under the influence, but they're not sure yet if alcohol contributed to Friday's incident.
Well, if you went outside today, hopefully you had an umbrella
Yes.
or a rain jacket or both, because it was yuck. Keith,
I did warn you guys, didn't I? I said this week was going to be trash.
As advertised.
And so far,
Yes, sir.
it's not great, right? There's the rain over down east. A lot of us with not raining, but still with low clouds and a little bit of drizzle in there. If we widen the picture out, a couple of showers still back to the west and across parts of Canada. So a few more showers possible tonight, but the heaviest of the rain has already come through and things are settling down. Just want to show you this little fun spot here in Mount Washington with the radar picking up some snow and sleet. Temperatures in the 30s there. It is cold aloft, and there may be a little bit of that mixing with snow and sleet in the mountains as well tomorrow and tomorrow night. So that's how chilly it is, and not hard to believe. Look at these surface temperatures: Rangeley 41, 40 in Greenville, 48 in Portland, and 46 in Wiscasset. So the heaviest rain over down east through tonight. Most of us are cloudy with some sprinkles. Onshore flow could bring us some fog as well. Tomorrow isn't great either, although marginally better than today, with a little bit less in the way of heavy rainfall. Temperatures, though, stay in the 50s. Guys, we may see a peak of sunshine by Wednesday afternoon, but, and this isn't hard to do, the second half of the work week looks better than today.
All right, guys, keep your eyes out for this, and please share it as well. There's a nationwide search for a 7-month-old girl abducted at a Virginia convenience store. An Amber Alert is in effect. Police say Emma Grace is in extreme danger. Officials say the man who took her, Carl Kennedy, is a registered sex offender. Emma Grace's mother says that Kennedy assaulted her with a knife before grabbing the infant.
We have no information that he has harmed a child or that he's going to harm a child. However, our concern is, when you have an emotional incident like this, that the child could be injured. And like I said before, our main concern is the safety of this child. And I know at the end of the day, that's got to be what he's thinking.
Kennedy is 5'8", weighing 170 pounds. He was last seen wearing a brown short-sleeved shirt with gray shorts. He also has a skull tattoo on his forearms and an eye tattoo on his right hand. Emma Grace is 18 pounds, blonde hair, blue eyes, was last seen wearing a light blue onesie.
Real change is brought about by getting out there and making sure that we hold our politicians accountable through voting. Getting those out of office who aren't representing us the way they said they would, and getting those into office who are going to be morally just and represent the people.
The students behind the March for Our Lives are now laser focused on the upcoming midterm elections. Today at a press conference in Parkland, the teens announced they will travel across the country to rally for candidates who support gun control and register young people to vote.
President George H.W. Bush is headed back to Walker's Point after he was released this morning from a Biddeford hospital. The 41st president was hospitalized for more than a week while he was treated for low blood pressure.
Meanwhile, the current First Lady is back to work today after surgery for a benign kidney condition. The White House says Melania Trump is scheduled to attend an event for Gold Star families today, but it is closed to the press. However, FLOTUS will not be joining President Trump on his trip to the G7 summit in Quebec City this week.
The Lewiston Elks Club was supposed to be the venue for weddings and parties this summer.
I really think it was very deceitful, very underhanded the way this was handled.
But now many people are left scrambling because the branch was abruptly closed.
Facebook said the Cambridge Analytica scandal was a one-time deal, but an investigation uncovered several companies may have had access to your personal information. That's coming up.
Coming up tonight on 207, it can be difficult to give up a dog you've helped raise, but one family has done it 7 times to help the visually impaired. Plus, Democratic gubernatorial candidate Mark Eves on 207 at 7.
Founded in 1897, the Lewiston Elks Lodge is one of the oldest of its kind in Maine. Today, the lodge is closed, maybe temporarily, maybe for good. Last week, and without notice, Lewiston Elks Lodge members were told the charter was being suspended for 90 days. No questions asked, no reasons why.
This is just terrible what they've done.
Steve Huzzy has been involved with the Elks Club for almost 50 years. His emotions after finding out about the charter suspension ranged from anger to disappointment to frustration.
It's very frustrating when I think back on the hundreds and hundreds of people that I've known in 46 years as an elk. For an organization to treat its members like this, treat a community like this. And I really think it was very deceitful, very underhanded the way this was handled.
We reached out to the chairman of the Benevolent and Protective Order of Elks, who said that the Lewiston chapter has been suspended due to not following the rules and regulations the chapter is bound by. Not only have the 209 lodge members been displaced by this decision, it has a ripple effect in the community.
I had a baby shower, which was yesterday. I have a wedding, which is the 10th of June. I had a wedding on the 23rd of June. I had a firefighters comedy show with over 200 plus people on July 27th.
It's telling me for 46 years, I might have been in the wrong organization.
Now, a decision on whether or not the lodge will be reopened is expected to be made around the 1st of September. Some of the members of the Lewiston Lodge were apparently told that they're not allowed to help out any other Elks organizations in our state. Now, I did speak with the chairman of the Benevolent and Protective Order of Elks. He told me that is not true, and any dues-paying member is welcome to help out with any Elks Lodge that they choose to.
All right, Lee, hopefully we can get some more answers soon. Police say an elderly man died trying to escape a nursing home in Buffalo, New York. Officials say 87-year-old William Strassner tied bed sheets together in order to climb out a third-floor window. He fell, and it took workers 20 minutes to find him. Police are investigating the man's death, and now the nursing home is under review.
Meanwhile, other states are also taking a closer look at assisted living facilities. In Louisiana, granny cams will soon be allowed in nursing homes. The governor signed a bill into law allowing families to videotape their loved ones' rooms under certain conditions.
The Supreme Court rules in favor of a baker who denied making a wedding cake for a same-sex couple, but local LGBTQ leaders say this could be a good thing.
It's significant that 7 Supreme Court justices signed on to that statement.
The long-term consequences of that decision explained.
And if you did not enjoy today, you are going to hate tomorrow. But there is light at the end of the tunnel, and it's not a train. Your full forecast is coming up.
Good thing.
The cake debate was settled by the Supreme Court today. 7-2, the high justices ruled that a Colorado baker was a victim of anti-religious bias. This all began years ago when a same-sex couple asked a baker to make a wedding cake. The baker refused, saying a same-sex wedding was against his religious views. The United States highest court sided with the baker. But the court is not deciding the big issue in the case, whether a business can refuse to serve members of the LGBTQ community.
Why is the ruling limited to just this case? Because the baker was denied a fair say right from the beginning.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
Demonstrators gathered Monday outside the Supreme Court to protest the High Court's decision to side with a Colorado bakery that wouldn't make a wedding cake for a same-sex couple.
They did reverse the decision. We were not happy about that.
But Matt Moonen, executive director of Equality Maine, says the High Court's decision for this specific case in Colorado is understandable.
Their state's Human Rights Commission had displayed some bias that made it impossible to give a fair hearing in the case.
Jack Phillips refused to make the wedding cake in 2012, saying it would force him to express a view that violated his religious beliefs. Now, the Supreme Court has reversed that ruling, saying the Colorado group never gave the baker a fair chance, effectively discriminating against the baker's religious beliefs. On the state level, Colorado and Maine have similar human rights laws.
Our law prohibits discrimination on a whole range of categories, including race, religion, disability, age, sexual orientation, and gender identity. And it is possible for sometimes those things to be in conflict with each other. And that was kind of the root of this case.
Amy Sneerson, executive director of the Maine Human Rights Commission, further clarifies with a statement to News Center Maine that reads in part, quote, according to the Supreme Court, the baker's First Amendment right to freely exercise his religion required the Colorado State Agency to consider the defense in a neutral fashion, so he did not get a proper hearing.
Maine's LGBT leaders say they're disappointed, but there is a bright spot in this case. 7 of the justices signed the ruling, clearly stating that same-sex couples cannot be discriminated against.
So most of us have packed away our winter coats, including this moose spotted in Easton. David sent this to our Facebook page. Thank you for sharing, sir.
Looks like a bad haircut. Well, the winter coats are away, but the raincoats should definitely stay out. The clouds and wet weather are hanging over out of state, and we may...
Look at that boat. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Are we not doing weather?
We're not up to you yet.
That boat was going so fast.
Sorry.
All right, we got a time lapse. What is it?
I'll tell you when it's your turn. Okay, it's not just nasty on shore. The rough seas forced the Atlantic Cup to postpone the last leg of the international sailing race. A team from Maine was playing across the finish line in their home state. The team finished second when the team made it to New York. Keith, when will this weather be decent enough for competitive sailing.
Is there an order? Is there an outline for the show that I could see somewhere?
Yes.
Ahead of time?
Yeah.
It's called the rundown.
If you chose to care, yes, you certainly could.
Do I need a login for that?
You mean like everybody else on the team?
Yeah. Hey, today wasn't too great, was it?
I know. It
Not
was. Some
fantastic.
people on Facebook say they actually had to crank the heat back on today.
Guttner just tweeted about that.
Yeah.
He was whining about it. But one more day like this, and then we're gonna slowly. And we did technically need the rain, so there's always that.
Right. I needed the car wash.
Yeah, it's and we did reduce pollen. That's the other thing, because pollen was getting kind of nasty. But yeah, not a nice day. I mean, temperatures in the 40s and 50s, and a lot of rain out there. Most of it has moved away, except for extreme down east Maine. A couple of downpours there. A few showers back to the west. So tonight we'll have the potential for showers, and as I mentioned, a little bit of high elevation snow and sleet is possible tonight and then tomorrow night, as temperatures just aloft in the middle part of the atmosphere are chilly for this time of the year. And you can see if we're in the 40s at the surface here, then you go up, say, 4,000 feet or so, and you're going to be near freezing. So that's where you have the potential, at least for a couple of sleet pellets. Most of us will be in the 40s, just not pleasant through the rest of tonight. Some onshore flow, a little bit of fog, some showers through the evening. And then tomorrow, again, marginally better than today. Not quite as rainy, but still showers, a lot of low overcast, and temperatures in the 50s there. A few more showers Tuesday night through Wednesday morning, and then finally we start to clear out on Wednesday afternoon with a little bit of sunshine possible in the afternoon. But really, we turn the corner more on Thursday and Friday. And there is a trend change at that point. Thursday looks pretty good. Friday looks warm, upper 70s and low 80s. And then Saturday looks really nice as well. Sunday's still up for grabs a little bit, and I know there's a lot of graduations and whatnot going on Sunday. Looks like the rain should be early in the day on Sunday, and we should clear out in time for Sunday afternoon. So at least half the weekend looks good, and we might get 3/4 of it as it turns out. All right, so overall, not the best 7-day I've given you, but again, I like Friday, I like Saturday, and I think Sunday will probably turn out fine. There might be some thunderstorms in the morning on Sunday, which is kind of an odd way to have thunderstorms happen, but that's the timing of it. And then next week looks much better. So, as I said last week, this is not a great vacation week if you happen to pick it. Either side of it, nice. Last week, good, and next week looks pretty good as well. No heat, though. Nothing 90 plus or anything like that.
It is still June. I mean,
right.
Let's not get carried away.
I get excited. Let's do it.
You did send out that tweet that was like, summer was nice. Welcome back, fall.
I thought summer was good overall.
That was mean.
Yeah.
That was mean.
I laughed.
Just trolling. Just trolling.
I LOL.
Keith trolling Carson. All right. Thank you, sir. This video of a 10-year-old's talent show performance isn't leaving a dry eye on the internet. Adam's mom shared the video on Facebook, and it's really blowing up. But Imagine by John Lennon actually is not Adam's first internet performance. Adam K has his own YouTube channel because of course he does. It's getting a lot of love right now because he's doing so well on Facebook.
Do you think his parents, mom and dad, had to approve that YouTube account first?
Well, I'm sure they did. No
Take
problem.
a page out of Legal Works parenting
Not
rule
for
book.
all of them.
Okay. Well, speaking of all that, Amazon, Apple, Facebook, all these tech companies are compiling our personal data.
So now an investigation uncovered that these digital giants are sharing what they know about us. NBC's Liz McLaughlin tells us more.
Snapping a photo on your phone and sharing directly to Facebook is one of the features the social network says was made possible by partnerships with at least 60 device makers, including Apple and Samsung.
They had to have these relationships so that they operate correctly on these platforms. And in some cases, that's all it is that they're doing this. In other cases, it's once again egregious data sharing.
A New York Times investigation shows that the scope of those partnerships over the past decade gave companies access to personal information, including relationship status, religion, and political leaning. Third-party apps face restrictions from Facebook to access this data, but device makers are exempt.
Even further, they're sharing the Facebook data of people's friends, even those people who have opted out.
In a statement, Facebook VP of Product Partnerships Ime Archibong pushed back against the Times article, saying, in part, friends' information like photos was only accessible on devices when people made a decision to share their information with those friends. We are not aware of any abuse by these companies. According to the Times, Facebook acknowledged that some partners store data on their own servers, raising security and privacy concerns.
It makes the data more vulnerable because all of a sudden it's in a place where it's not supposed to be or wasn't agreed to by the consumer.
The new revelations have Congressman David Cicilline on Twitter questioning CEO Mark Zuckerberg's testimony before Congress last month and calling for additional investigation, part of growing support for regulating data collection online. Liz McLaughlin, NBC News.
Cindy Williams here with a look at what's coming up on News Center Maine at 5:30.
Yeah, you know, the Kennebunk Food Festival was up in the air because of allegations of sexual misconduct by one of the sponsoring agencies of that. But that annual event got started today after all. We're going to have that story. Check it out just ahead. And the Maine State Police has a new chief. And there are changes coming to the force. Those stories and more, all ahead at 5:30.
All right, Cindy, sounds good. Thanks so much. Stay with us. More now when we come back.
Okay, so we decided this was funny because it was so long ago. 79 BC, they just found this skeleton from Pompeii in which Mount Vesuvius erupted, of course, and they determined this unfortunate soul actually escaped the eruption in its initial death and destruction, only to be hit with a large slab of what looks like granite directly in the head. And so this has become now a meme because it's the internet, and many are along the Wile E. Coyote.
I was thinking Looney Tunes.
Yeah, it's the way it happened. And then one I actually really like was, it says, me to a panicked group of archaeologists moments after I drop a big rock on a perfectly preserved Pompeii skeleton. Chill, I'll talk to the media. I got this. We're going to make this whole thing up. But basically, let's go back to the picture. They found a couple of interesting things in the last couple of years. You remember the guy they found? The couple was they were having a good time at the time of Mount Vesuvius eruption. They could figure it out by the skeletal placement. They've also found one that they believe was a murder victim because it had like a knife wound but it was in someone's house. So all kinds of stuff. The darkest secrets when you don't know things are about to.
Just when I thought I knew what
I couldn't think of a good TV word.
Everybody yelling in everybody's face when you just started that. News Center at 5:30 starts right now. I'll keep still.